What if I told you that the worst moment of your life contains the exact blueprint for your greatest transformation? The fear you're avoiding, the pain that you can't stand, the darkness that you're running from is actually the doorway to everything that you want. This is the law of polarity, and I'm not teaching this from a book. I'm teaching this from my real life. I lived it. I descended into the deepest darkness, and now I've ascended to a very good life. So let's talk about it. Hey, welcome to Conscious Casey. I'm Casey. Welcome back to another video. If this is the first time you're here, welcome to my channel. If you're interested in wisdom, expanded consciousness, and living your best life, please subscribe to the channel. Today we're diving into the next Hermetic principle, the Law of Polarity. This law states that everything has two poles, like positive and negative, dark and light, up and down, good and bad, hot and cold. Those are not different things though. They're just two ends of the same thing. Hot and cold are just two different temperatures on the same spectrum. Love and hate are not opposites. They're different intensities on the same emotional spectrum. Here's what people miss. You can't have one pole without the other. Most people try to spend their lives avoiding the negative pole. They numb it, they run from it, they do anything they can to stay away from that, to avoid the feeling of it. But that's the trap, because on the other side of that is everything that you want. Beyond the fear, beyond the darkness, beyond the negativity, beyond the hard things, that's the life that you're looking for. That's the freedom you seek. I know this because I lived it. A few years ago, I was in the darkest place I had ever been. Through my own actions, through my unconscious way of thinking, my wife left with the kids and I descended into hell. That's what I like to say, because I literally lived through hell after that. I gave up on life. I had built a really nice life physically for us, house, cars, lots of money and vacations, nice career, but I took it all for granted. I found out very quickly after they left I could not live without my children in my life. I thought happiness came from external circumstances, from having my family, from things going my way, from being in control. I was wrong. When all my external physical things were gone, I was left with nothing. Then I started this process of trying to think my way out of it. I tried to fix it. I tried to control it. I tried to manipulate situations and people to get things back to how it was. But none of that worked. The turning point came when I released control, when I fully surrendered, when I said, I don't have the answer anymore. Please help me. I had to admit defeat. I had to feel all the feelings that I was avoiding. Only then could I make a start on a new life. I had to crawl out of that darkness without my kids. I had to get sober, and I put one foot in front of the other until I found myself for the first time. Not the version of me that needed external things to make myself feel okay, but the version of me that found myself inside, found peace, found love for myself. The real me that existed the entire time, underneath all that fear and grasping. And now I built my life on spiritual principles of doing the good things, doing the right things, and definitely connecting with myself on a daily basis and getting my mind right. I built it on health. I built it on consciousness and doing the inner work every single day. And then all the good things came back to me, including my children. But here's the thing, they came back to a different man. A man who I learned that love and happiness and peace does not come from anything outside of himself. It comes from the inside, and it's always with me. That descent into darkness, that was the negative pole. And it contained the seeds of everything that I needed to learn to get to this place that I am today, on the positive pole. This is the law of polarity in action. You cannot experience the depth of joy without experiencing the depth of pain. You cannot experience light without experiencing darkness. You cannot actually know freedom experientially without knowing prison of fear and control. The universe is not punishing you with darkness. It's showing you the contrast. It's giving you the tools for transformation. Most people are terrified of this. They feel like they need to push the negative pole away, that they need to think that it doesn't exist, that they want to avoid it at all cost. What this does is perpetuate misery forever. Until we face the negative, until we feel the feelings, until we let it flow through us, we will not have an equilibrium. We will not be able to descend to the light pole, to the positive pole. They try to stay positive all the time. They try to avoid pain at all costs. But that's not how polarity works. When you resist the negative pole, you're not actually avoiding it. You're actually strengthening it. You're giving it power. You stay stuck in it. You keep it buried in your subconscious where it runs your life like a program from the shadows. But when you stop running and you finally feel it, you allow it to be liberated, and then you flip the polarity. And that's when transformation becomes possible. Think about it in nature. A caterpillar has to completely liquefy in the cocoon before it becomes a butterfly. Nature understands polarity. Destruction and creation are the same forces. Death and rebirth are one cycle. Your darkness is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It's showing you what you need to transform. The question is, are you willing to feel it? Are you willing to surrender? Or are you going to keep running? Are you going to keep avoiding and suppressing and keep playing small because you're afraid of the fear, because you're afraid of letting go? I'll tell you what's on the other side of that fear is the freedom that you seek. Now, I kind of told you my big dramatic story about going deep into darkness and then coming back into light, but that was not an overnight process. That took a couple years of flipping things the other way. So where you're at right now, just look around. If you're living in a low vibration situation, if you're consuming low vibration content, if you're listening to low vibration music, speaking in low vibrations, then your result will be low vibration. Your result will be more darkness. This will show up in your relationships. This will show up in your health. This will show up in your bank account, your sense of purpose, everything. The opposite is also true. If you start thinking better thoughts, if you start having a positive outlook on life, if you start consuming better content and putting good things into your mind, then good things will start producing out of your mind. And then you start flipping the polarity. The key is to surround yourself with growth-minded people. Speak words of possibility instead of complaint. Think thoughts of abundance instead of scarcity. And then your external reality will start to match that frequency that you're emanating. I have another video on vibration and how emotions create vibration and how you can attract to your life what you're emanating, and I'll post the link to that video up here. Basically, it is good things in, good things out. As within, so without. It's another one of the Hermetic principles that I've talked about. You don't have to change everything at once. The good thing is that you can start today. You know how you create a badass life in 6 months? You start today and you stay consistent and you get a vision of the future and you replay that vision every day. Just start one thing today. Change one thing. Stop consuming news that creates fear. Stop listening to music that glorifies pain. Stop complaining about your circumstances and start looking for the little things of gratitude. Because I guarantee you could create a list of 50 things that you should be grateful for right now. And when we create gratitude, it creates the right feelings. And when we create the right feelings, we start focusing on the right things, and that brings the good things into our life. It's generating the goodness from the inside, and then the outside mirrors it back to us. Maybe you're in darkness right now. Maybe you're in the same situation that I was in. Maybe you've lost something or lost someone and you're stuck in fear and you don't know how to get out. I want you to know something. Everything is impermanent. Nothing stays the same and everything's always changing. And you are the catalyst for change. You are in charge of your transformation. So use these things that I've been talking about and start today. If you need more support, my links are in the description. Get a hold of me. Having a firm foundation is so important. So having these spiritual principles underneath you as a firm foundation is super important because that allows us to surrender. That allows us to trust. That allows us to be okay with ourselves. This is a process. If you're ready to break through fear and come into the person that you were meant to be, let's do this work together. I'll see you in the next video.